Everyone knows how a neglected houseplant dies. It sits forgotten on a shelf for a month, dries up, and fades away. But there is a second way to kill a succulent. It happens right in front of you. The plant rapidly turns soft, and the real tragedy is that the cause looks exactly like love. It happens through a very specific checklist of well-intentioned habits. It's spraying a daily, gentle mist of water over the leaves because the plant seemed thirsty. It's adding a small splash from your gloss because you forgot to check on it yesterday. Or it's constantly picking the pot up and moving it from windowsill to windowsill, trying to find a slightly better spot. None of these actions come from carelessness. In fact, they feel entirely right to us. When a child is sick, or a dog is anxious, or a friend is upset, giving them extra, highly visible attention genuinely helps. We are wired to nurture by hovering, soothing, and intervening. Because this pattern of hovering looks and feels like attentive caregiving, there are no obvious warning signs to snap you out of it. There is no crispy, shriveled leaf to signal that something is wrong. The plant is being constantly watched and adjusted, so the caregiver feels reassured they are doing a good job until the damage is severe. Here is the problem. Watching, tending, and adjusting a succulent is not the same thing as meeting its biological needs. Caregiving instincts working perfectly on mammals run in direct opposition to how these specific plants survive. Treating the plant as a creature needing daily comfort, these gentle habits quietly construct a toxic environment. To understand why a kind gesture causes physical harm, we must look past intentions and examine the mechanics beneath the soil. Succulents evolved in environments where water is scarce but occasionally heavy. Their entire root system is built for a strict dry then soak cycle. They expect periods of total dryness, followed by a heavy downpour, and then a return to total dryness. This diagram of a succulent soil shows exactly where our gentle habits go wrong. The healthy side demonstrates that natural dry then soak rhythm, but the other side shows what happens when you mist or give tiny frequent sips. It creates a persistent, shallow layer of low-grade dampness. The soil is never entirely wet, but it is never allowed to dry out. Zooming in between the soil particles reveals the physical consequence of that dampness. Healthy roots need to breathe oxygen from the tiny air pockets in dry soil. But constant low-level moisture continuously fills those gaps with water, physically displacing the oxygen and suffocating the root tissue. Roots deprived of their dry recovery period quickly lose their structural integrity. They soften and weaken, which turns them into the perfect food source for the naturally occurring organisms that cause fatal root rot. The plant's biology does not know you added that splash of water out of guilt. It cannot distinguish between a loving mist and a relentless, suffocating drizzle. It only reacts to the persistent dampness of its environment. So if constant intervention physically suffocates the plant, we have to ask a slightly uncomfortable question. Why does human nature instinctively drive us to do it anyway? In human relationships, guilt is a highly evolved, incredibly useful signal. It acts as an internal alarm bell, telling you that something might be wrong and that you are responsible for stepping in to fix it. But again, this is an instinct built for mammals. If you ignore a hungry puppy, that's neglect. But for a succulent, biological neglect, leaving it completely alone in dry soil for weeks, is the precise definition of correct care. This creates a psychological tension called the responsibility-action gap. Look at this balancing scale. On one side, you hold a massive, heavy feeling of responsibility for this living thing. On the other side, the correct biological action is just to wait. The correct action doesn't feel heavy enough to balance out the responsibility. Because doing nothing feels deeply uncomfortable, your brain naturally fills that gap with physical actions. You add weights for misting, a tiny sip, and rotating the pot. Taking physical action balances the emotional scale and provides immediate relief. There is also a self-image component at play here. Doing these things allows you to actively see yourself as a good, attentive plant parent. It creates visible proof that you are trying. Ultimately, that extra care isn't actually targeted at the plant's survival. It is a coping mechanism. The hovering, the sipping, and the misting are just tools to regulate your own discomfort with uncertainty. That underlying caregiving impulse is a good thing. You don't need to suppress the desire to care for your plant.
You just need to redirect it away from taking immediate physical action and toward checking for actual evidence. Before you intervene, use this one diagnostic checkpoint.
Ask yourself, is this for the plant's actual condition, or is this for my guilt? To answer honestly, look for real biological signals. Is the soil genuinely dry all the way to the bottom of the pot? Have the leaves lost their firmness and started to wrinkle? If the answer is no, then the urge to act is coming from your own worry, and the kindest thing you can do is walk away. Instead of relying on daily micro-interventions, we can switch to a replacement care menu. This means establishing stable, perfect conditions exactly once. Provide bright light, use a gritty, fast-draining soil, ensure good airflow, and put the plant in one spot and leave it there. For an attentive owner, this is a difficult psychological hurdle. Setting up a perfect environment and then largely ignoring the plant feels like you are abandoning your responsibility. But true caregiving requires giving the recipient exactly what they need, even if it feels counterintuitive to you. The ultimate mark of a good plant parent isn't measured by how often you intervene. It is having the discipline to build the right environment, step back, and let the plant simply exist.